I'm personally encouraged and inspired by the increased national focus and awareness on diversity and inclusion, including in the VC startup and digital health space. Much important research has been done, including by Rock Health, to help us understand where we're at and the critical progress that still needs to be made. As we think about where investment dollars are going, it's also important to consider not only the diversity of founders themselves, but also the venture investors supporting them. Megan, would welcome your perspective and insights on your latest diversity findings on where venture capital is flowing.
Some really interesting insights are starting to come out from that data. So you mentioned funding. One is that we actually, we asked people where their companies are based. We did find that most of the founder survey respondents that we had are based in the West, where we are, as well as in the Northeast, a lot fewer in the South and in the Midwest. But when you looked at the racial and ethnic breakdown, there were a lot more Black founders, particularly in the South, to a healthy degree in the Midwest, and also more Hispanic founders. And so when you think about where the capital is flowing, it's definitely to the coast. And we kind of have the numbers to back that up. And so it does kind of beg the question of, as investors, how are we diversifying our deal flow? How are we tapping into this talent? How do we tap into that more diverse set of founders that are in the South? The group that is least likely to be venture-backed and most likely to bootstrap are African-American women founders. The data was pretty clear in this regard that white and Asian founders much more likely than African-American founders to have access to venture capital. But I do think in healthcare, there's something to say about access to venture capital enabling scale. I mean, as you know, there are so many regulatory hurdles, product market fit, enterprise sales, so many challenges that often require a good deal of funding before you're getting a ton of revenue traction. And so if our data points to accessibility issues among certain populations, that's a conversation we definitely hope our ecosystem has.
What's encouraging though, Megan, and you know this better than I do, the first step in bringing this collective effort is collecting the data and benchmarking it. And I really hats off to the Rock Health team for prioritizing this, because if we don't know the data, we don't know the metrics, it's hard for us to evaluate what is working or what isn't. And I couldn't agree more with the excitement that I'm seeing from all the stakeholders, not only in the healthcare system, but across the country, really invested in trying to solve this diversity challenge. So really excited to continue to monitor that data as Rock Health and others collect it going forward.
I think one of the powerful things that we're also seeing this year is solutions being built to offer culturally competent care to populations that otherwise have been underserved or are, the victims of systemic racism or have just worse and as a result have worse health outcomes. So, there are a number of companies that are working on care for Black mothers to close the disparities that exist there. Another group that often lacks kind of culturally competent care is the LGBTQ community. So you have companies like Folks Health, Queerly Health that are addressing the needs and offering a set of kind of support, comfort, care, personalization that they haven't found in the traditional care delivery system.
Yeah, you've hit on the final question on this theme I was hoping to get your take on. So I don't know if you have more to add, but I'm encouraged by all this, the calls, the efforts to ensure that these technologies are fundamentally more inclusive and serving all the population set that comprises our terrific country. But so for you, I guess the final question is, what does it mean to build digital health technology for everyone?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think like we're not intending to be overly prescriptive about who should be building solutions and who they should be building for. I actually think that if we have more diverse founders, a lot of them are going to be building for populations and needs where they've had personal experience and they feel not just kind of a personal connection to those sorts of problems to solve, but have a deep understanding of how they might go about solving them and connecting with those populations. The possibilities should be really expansive, but I do think that when you are trying to solve these problems in healthcare, it's so important to be connected to the lived experiences. And whether that's, importantly, having those lived experiences on your team, whether that's connecting into those communities and having relationships with patients, with the providers that are doing this work, I think, really getting out there and having some humility and some vulnerability to oftentimes listen. It's a lot of what we've really honestly been trying to do at Rock Health, bringing that kind of beginner's mindset, listening mindset, always.
So true, Megan. I mean, I can't even begin to thank you for the incredible insights today. It's been great talking with you, Megan. I'm so proud, humbled, and honored to be Rock Health's pro bono counsel, to have been on this journey with you and the team from the beginning.